Hello everybody! Today is another throwback to the 50s full day meals. You guys seem to like that so much, and it is so much fun for us to do. We really love it. What is not to love about the 50s, right? You had Marilyn Monroe, you had Sinatra, Elvis. Let's see, who else was big ones? I was even looking it up this morning to make sure that I had it right. You had Lucille Ball, one of my absolute favorites. I have all the collection of I Love Lucy. Let's see, who else? There's so many. Just so many. You guys tell me down below who your favorite 1950s actress, actor, singer, whatever was. Price is Right was huge then. Let's see. My grandma loved all the talk shows. All of them. They're just so much fun in the 1950s. Such a fun time. So here is our throwback to the 1950s. I do not have my grandma interviewed yet, you guys. I will have that done before the month is out. And thank you for forgiving me for not being here on Tuesday. We'll share all that's been going on here on our recap of the week on Sunday. So let's jump into a 1950s breakfast. Okay, so here it is. This is what we're gonna do for the breakfast, okay? This is a hearty breakfast, take your choice. We're gonna do the quick cooking oats with raisins. However, I don't have quick cooking, I only have the old fashioned, but that's all right. And I am not gonna make it with raisins. So I'm kind of changing that up because I love raisins and so does Theo and Luke, but nobody else eats raisins. So I want them to actually eat what I'm cooking. So I will just make the quick cooking oats, and then it says to add to it some brown sugar and cream, and then either serve with enriched toast, butter, and peach jam, or hot biscuits with butter and honey. We're gonna make biscuits to go with it. And then we're gonna have our fruit is either sliced bananas or tangerines. I am going to do probably the tangerines. And then beverage is coffee, milk, or hot chocolate. So I will make hot chocolate for the kids. I've already had my coffee. So let's get started with the biscuits first. So we're gonna start off with our flour, and I'm putting this into be sifted. It says to sift the dry ingredients together. The baking powder, salt, baking soda, and just sift that all together. And then I am using lard, but you can use Crisco or butter. Then you're going to cut that in with your pastry cutter. Then make a little well in the middle and add your milk. This is actually, you're supposed to add buttermilk, but I did not have buttermilk, so I just mixed some vinegar in with my milk and let it sit. Make my own buttermilk. Stir that until moist. You don't want to over stir it because then it will make your biscuits tough. But I just call it being free. Then I'm using my grandmother's old flouring little canister. So just flour your surface, and then you're going to flour your hands, and then roll out your biscuit dough. 'Cause now a wildfire is raging deep
deep inside.
I'm just going to kind of knead it together just so that it sticks together enough for me to roll it out, but not over mixing it.
And the match that drew a spark was a single stolen kiss. And if that ain't love, I don't know what is.
And then I'm going to use my grandmother's biscuit cutter. And I'm going to cut the biscuits.
Feelings grounded and gone without, all kept within. By these high walls I've been.
And then just put them on a baking sheet and bake them.
Walls to her ice only paper.
And then onto the oats. I have some old-fashioned oats and water. I'm just going to stir that and let it come to a boil. Oh, and I added a little salt too. Just following the directions on the back of the oat buns.
Like the turning of the tide, and the match that drew the spark was a single story.
Now that that's come to a boil, I'm going to add some heavy cream and brown sugar.
I don't know what it is. That ain't love. I don't know what it is.
Stir that all up. And now onto the hot chocolate. Here I'm just going to add some milk. I did not measure anything. Some sugar and some unsweetened cocoa powder. Stir it all up and let it get nice and warm, stirring occasionally. Okay, so here we go. This is then our 50s breakfast. Charles, he just did a smoothie real quick. He's actually not eating because he needed to get outside. Ash is already gone, so her plate setting is just sitting still because she's already at guard. So it's just the rest of us. So here are the biscuits. They turned out beautifully. And then we have butter and honey to go with them. That's something my grandmother has always eaten, so I was so thrilled to see that in the book. Then we have our tangerine slices. And then here is our oats. Now, I did add a pat of butter to the top as it's melting all through. That is the way my grandmother always did it. And so I am going to do that too. And of course, hot chocolate for the girls. So now we're going to go on and start the rolls for dinner. And then I will move into making lunch, but the rolls take a little while. So we are making something called butterhorn rolls. So let's get that started. We're going to start with our warm water and add our yeast. We're going to let that sit aside to get nice and bubbly. And while that's sitting there, we're going to go over to the stove and heat up our milk and our sugar, our shortening. And stir that, and we're going to heat it until the milk is almost to a boil and the shortening is almost melted. Oh, and I forgot, add the salt. And then you're going to remove it from the heat and let it come to a lukewarm temperature. Meanwhile, crack your eggs and beat them. And then to our yeast mixture, we're going to add our lukewarm milk mixture and our eggs. And mix that up real good together. And then add your flour. And then the dough is done. It's a little bit sticky, so you're going to need to flour your hands and your surface so that the dough doesn't stick. And then you're going to knead it just a few times until you are able to work with it. Then in a greased bowl, you're going to put your dough and you're going to grease the top of the dough. Cover and let it rise. Alright, and now on to lunch. Sorry, Bo on the Go is going on TV. Alright, so we're going to start here. We're going to do corn chowder. It says our vegetables are in the chowder. Then it says over here, toasted deviled ham sandwiches, pimento cheese, stuffed celery. We are not doing that. We're doing this luncheon meat slices with assorted crackers, lettuce slices with dressing. We're going to make these oatmeal crispies. We're going to start with our shortening. And our sugars. And then we're going to cream that together. Then add your egg and vanilla. Once that's nice and mixed together, you're going to add your baking soda, your salt, and stir that up real good. And then you're going to add your flour, your chopped nuts, your instant oats, or like I did, I just ground up some old-fashioned oats, just a little. And then you're going to form it into a log. wrap it in saran wrap, and put it in the fridge to chill. So I did this first so that it would chill while I was making my chowder. And on to the chowder. So take some salt pork, called for about 2 ounces, and brown that in your pot. Once that's browned, you're going to add 1 small sliced onion, thinly sliced. And you're going to cook that in the pot, but you don't want to brown it. You just want to cook it until it's tender. And then we're going to start layering our vegetables. So you're going to add your potatoes. And this was about 2 potatoes. And then you're going to add your tomatoes. It can be fresh or canned. And I had fresh ones from the garden. About a cup of tomatoes. Then a can of cream corn. Then you're going to add salt, pepper, and a tablespoon of sugar. 4 cups of boiling water. And you're going to let that cook until the potatoes are tender. Turn your heat down to a medium heat. Once your potatoes are good and tender, you're going to add a cup of warm milk to your chowder. Gotta give it to me, baby, now. All right. Come on. And now back to the cookies. Now that they're chilled, we're just going to slice them, put them on a baking sheet, and bake.
Come on, give it to me, baby. Down on the floor. All right. Oh, yeah. All right.
Okay, so here is lunch. We have our cookies here, and then our cracker plate, and our lunch meat plate. And then over here we have our salad wedges, or iceberg slices, and our corn chowder. That's our lunch. And now we're gonna go on and prepare for dinner. So we need to go on and make this warm cooked dressing, because then it needs to cool so that we can add some heavy cream, and he is noisy today, and make the ambrosia salad that's going to go with this. So here's how we make the cooked dressing. So we're gonna start off with our sugar, flour, dry mustard powder, a dash of cayenne, and stir that all up. And you're going to add egg yolks, milk, stir that all up. And then you're going to want to put it on a double boiler. But if you do not have a double boiler, you can just do what I did. And that's bring a pan of water to boil, turn it off, and then set your bowl on top of the boiling water. Hot steam will make a double boil. And you're just going to stir that until that gets nice and thick. And then you're going to add your vinegar and lemon juice at the end. And then pour that in a jar to cool.
Still today, 60 years down the road, something about this record is never getting old. Here comes the king. Stand aside. Here comes the king. Here comes the king. Stand aside. Stand aside. With guitar in hand, up front in the band. Here comes the king.
Now our dough is done, so let's punch that down. Then we're going to divide that into 3 sections. And then flour our surface lightly and roll it out into a circle, each section. And then we're going to cut it just like you would a pizza and roll, well, first, cover with some melted fat, then roll it like you would croissants or crescent rolls. And then you want to brush those with a little more melted fat, and then you cover them to rise again until doubled. All right, now we're going to move on to dinner. So we got the rolls going, and we're going to go on and make the chicken fried steak. All right, so here is dinner and what it looks like. We're gonna do this chicken fried round steak. We're gonna follow with the baked squash. We're gonna do some broccoli and come over. We're doing an ambrosia salad, but there's also cranberry Waldorf. They say pick one. Then we're gonna do apple dumplings, and over here we're doing the butterhorn rolls. So that is the dinner list. And here you can see are just the categories. So you pick your meat, your starch, your vegetable, your salad, your dessert, and nice to serve with it. There is some other cute things about this book that I wanted to share. Special helps. I thought this was really, really cute. It's all kind of stuff, like how to tell when it's done, for cooking, for measuring, terms used in the cookbook, and then let's see, more of the measuring, and then here it's cooking shortcuts. All kinds of stuff like how to cut your fruit, your pies. Right here, seasonings with spices and herbs, what goes with what. This is just like, it's very thorough. There's even a section in here that, talks about removing spots and stains. And if you get one of these stains, what do you do to get it out of your clothes? It was just like it was an all together, you know. In the front it talks about calories and how, you know, nutrition values and about nutrition, and it goes into how to make your daily food plan, how to tally your calories, what everybody should eat for calories, It was just like an all-in-one book, which I just thought was so cool. And that it has the menu plans laid out. You know, the newer ones were not that way. Even though I have an old one, it's newer than this, and it was not that way. I just thought that that was so neat. And something else it does is then on the side of the book here, it has like a quick guide for things, like to find the pages or whatever if you don't want to go searching. And it has that on both sides. You know, in here it does too. It's got your quick measurements and stuff like that. This is just the coolest book. And a lot of you have asked where in the world my daughter got me this 50s cookbook. And this was on eBay. And like I said, it's old. Pages are starting to fall out. I've got to get those little circles that you know you put in to keep it from falling out. And there's writing in the book. I told you guys that last time where they took notes, whoever the owner was. You know, the binding is coming apart a little bit here. So I just have to baby this book because I love it. All right, let's start dinner. So here we're gonna, again, start with sugar and water. And we're gonna bring that to a boil, along with some cinnamon, nutmeg, and red food coloring. Once it comes to a boil, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter and take it off the heat. And now for the pastry part of our dumplings, we're going to sift together our flour, baking powder, salt, and then we're going to add in our shortening and cut that in with our pastry cutter. And then we're going to add our milk and stir it up together. I find that it is easier to just use your hands. Then we want to roll that out on a lightly floured surface into a rectangular shape. Then we're going to cut these into rectangles. And then in the center of each rectangle, you're going to put 1 apple that has been peeled and cored. You're going to top that with a generous amount of sugar, nutmeg, cinnamon, and a pat of butter. And then with some water, you're going to wet your fingers and wet the edges of your rectangles. And then you want to fold those up around the apples. Now I tried to make it like the picture to begin with, but I ended up just kind of forming it to the apple at the end, as you will see. So maybe that's not the best idea, because you will see mine turned out delicious but did not look at all like the picture. Then you're just going to place all of them in a baking dish, and you're going to pour over your syrup that you made, sprinkle a little sugar on top, and put them in the oven. Now while these are baking, I'm going to go on and make the chicken fried steak. So I'm starting with just crushing some crackers so that I have fine cracker crumbs. Beat together 2 eggs and some milk. Then you're going to take your steak and you're going to dip it in the egg mixture and then into the cracker mixture. I'm using eye of round steak. And then in a pan, I have some lard melted. It says to use fat. And I'm browning each side of the steaks. Then you cover and let it cook until done. And now on to our salad. So we're going to start with some diced up oranges, grapes, and dates. Then add 2 bananas sliced. Some unsweetened coconut, and toss it with a little bit of lemon juice. And then you're going to set that aside, and we're going to make the dressing that goes over top. I will have to be honest with you, the kids and I and Charles did not care for this. I would have liked it just like this without the dressing. But it said to make this dressing. So some heavy whipping cream and part of the dressing that we made. Blend that up, and you're going to pour it over all the fruit. Toss that and pour it onto a bed of lettuce. Top it with some unsweetened coconut, and you're all done. right, and here is our 1950s dinner. The chicken fried steak, ambrosia salad, buttered broccoli, fried zucchini, the butterhorn rolls, and then my apple dumplings. They so did not turn out like the picture at all. So we'll see how they taste. I'm sure they're gonna taste fabulous. I have to figure out what I did wrong. If you guys know, let me know. But that's it. A beautiful 1950s dinner. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Sorry about that. This is actually the next day. My outgo messed up. And I hope you guys give it a big thumbs up if you want to see more of the 1950s. And I'll see all of you Sunday for a weekly recap. Bye, everybody.